Welcome to Fireteam Chat, IGN's Destiny show. Thank you for joining us today, everybody.
You're welcome.
Speaking of thanking people for joining us, Fran, thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, it's been busy lately, unfortunately, but I'm super happy to be back. And I got in the raid and all this. I'm so excited to talk.
Awesome. And we got Jose back.
Harder to find than the Black Spindle is what he said before the show.
Yeah.
I just want people to know that.
Justin was going to me before. They're like,
Fran.
yeah.
Yeah,
They're like, thanks for coming back finally. And I was like, yeah, someone on my Twitter feed had been like, you're harder to find than Black Spindle. Or harder to get than Black Spindle.
Speaking of hard to find, this is actually a good time to promote one of our new pages. We have new show pages on IGN. So a lot of people ask me, like, I'm looking for the show. I can't find it in a consistent place. Well, now we have a spot for you. You can go to ign.com/watch/fireteam-chat. And all the episodes will be there in their video form and in the breakouts. So you can see all the Fireteam chat
All
stuff.
you got to do is remember watch Fireteam chat and add that dash in. You'll figure it out.
Yeah, you'll get it. People are pretty savvy on the internet.
They are.
Today on the show, we're going to be talking about the Sleeper Simulant. It's finally here. We finally figured out how to get it. But there's some stuff that we want to discuss about it. How to fix Nightfalls. The Nightfall system got nerfed by far the worst with Year 2. We're going to talk about how we would like it to be fixed. And microtransactions. I got a little bit of heat for my opinion on this on Twitter.
I can't wait to talk about this.
And I want to talk about it a little bit. But first up, let's talk about that new sweet heavy fusion rifle.
The double S, the SS, the SS awesome, the SS maybe.
I know it tears apart Atheon, that's for sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I bet
So
it does.
there's some fun videos now circulating of people using the Sleeper Simulant, which is a heavy fusion rifle, in vanilla Destiny, and so it wrecked Atheon. It killed a Gorgon like nobody's business.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how fast. But I guess can we start talking about the quest line?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
So-
how do you get it? What happens?
So you get these random drops of weird fusion rifles or just weird
Pieces.
purples.
Weapons, yeah.
Yeah,
that's
weapons.
They're like
the gunsmith.
DV18X.
And- yeah.
These parts.
You get 4 of those, you bring them to the gunsmith, and then nothing really happens until Bungie decides to activate the first quest.
The first firewall, ironically. Yeah, that's the name of it. And so if you fulfilled those requirements, you go in, it's
The gunsmith gives it to you. Oh, no, it just pops on your map.
It just pops on your map. You go there, and once you complete that mission, you get a drop. So the coolest part of it to me was that it was another morning where I woke up and there was a surprise waiting in Destiny.
Yeah.
No one. Actually, I didn't wake up. We were up at 2 a.m.
Yeah, still
that
playing.
night, actually. And the reset happened, and I was playing with a good friend of the show, Nate, and he says, holy crap, there's a mission here I'd never seen before. What is this? And then I'm like, let's go in. And then he checked Reddit. He's like, oh my God, this is the lead to the Sleeper Simulant. We go in. How quickly the code was deciphered is incredible to me because, like, basically you get a drop that is it's dip switches.
Yeah.
Right? There's a top set and a lower set.
And how you know how to do it is the knights spawn in a certain order, and there's taken knights and regular knights, and that's the code.
Which seems
like, that's
cool
crazy,
in
right?
hindsight,
Yeah.
but I think in the moment we were. I just want to put out there that Reddit became obsessed with this gun and the level of crowdsourced detective work that went into how this was going to go down compared to what it actually ended up being, to me is kind of a reminder that we really need to start managing expectations.
You feel like they got overhyped.
I think everyone got really crazy about this. But
I think
but
the
binary
reason
code. Sorry, just to wrap that. I think it was clever, but I think in
can't
hindsight, it
dangle
was
that out
something
there.
you wouldn't have just left it like I don't know. I wouldn't have put it together myself. But I'm very happy that's how it went down.
So you dangle it out there, then you finished your point. But I don't think they got overhyped. I think it was just this thing that we knew existed because of the Game Informer piece, and they're just like, wait a minute, nobody has this thing yet. How do we get it? What is it? So, like, it gave them a reason to kind of go crazy.
Like, I mean, it is in the collector's edition is a major item.
Oh, yeah, and then, like, there's a poster.
The poster, the blueprint of it. So, I mean, it is put out there as, like, this is going to be the gun.
Yeah,
They didn't say that, but they sort of did.
Yeah,
you know?
but people got carried away, and I think with the next target weapons, for example, when No Time to Explain, when that starts showing up, which is an exotic version of the Stranger's Rifle, let's just all take a breath, because I found myself getting very worked up about it as well, because every morning I'd open up Reddit and see, oh man, another theory, chain of theories for how we're going to get this thing. I wonder when that's going to pop. But anyway, the mission was clever. It was an area we've been to before, which is Rasputin's sort of core or whatever.
Yep.
But I like the whole Knights thing. I like the boss fight at the end. Then you get this drop. You put in a code 4 times, 4 different codes, and it pops another mission, correct? That will basically is the next step in the quest line.
Yeah, you have to
The
go.
public event stuff?
You got to go beat. You got to do the public events.
Yeah, and you track down public events. You get a part. You do public events. You do the Venus mission that involves
archives.
The archives. Thank you. And then you turn it into the gunsmith, and then the trail goes cold. Which to me, the hype levels then were rising.
Yeah.
I was like,
I thought it'd be an Arms Day reset, but it was the next day.
No, yeah.
He does that. Yeah, this has happened before.
I like that where the trail goes cold, and you're like, well, what happens next? And then you're left waiting. But then the next episode was the next day.
Yeah.
And it was, hey, beat the Saber Strike, which to me was slightly underwhelming.
Yeah.
Because I'd done that strike a bunch of times. I think the Warsat opening is asking a little bit too much of people.
I hate that Warsat opening. Sometimes you can get all ogres, and it's just like, what do I do? I can't beat this.
Yeah, well, listening to some discussions Bungie's been doing, Luke Smith was talking about, that was creative director on Destiny, was talking about how you'll get a different set of enemies, and there's a normal version, and there's the hard version. And some of the hard versions are a little harder than I think people were ready for.
I just bail on that mission. I'm like, oh, I got ogres. I'm done. By
a lot of
I'm not gonna even try because you pop a bubble, they come stomp on you, everybody dies.
Yeah. I guess I mean, I'm really excited. I have one. I'm really excited of how this questline started. I was a little disappointed with having to play the Saber Strike to get it. I just was hoping for something a little more fulfilling.
Unique.
But regardless, unique. Yeah, but regardless, here's my rifle. I'm feeling good about that. And I guess if we're done explaining how the quest works, how did you guys feel about it? Were you satisfied, or were you also
I didn't get to do it.
I
missed it.
I feel like the quest was fine. I thought it was pretty interesting. I like that you got the box and you had to input the codes. That was kind of interesting. It kind of builds the lore of Destiny. The weapon itself, however, I'm just kind of like, it's kind of cool, but I'm not blown away. There's no special thing, and they tried to balance out exotics as a whole.
This is the problem. Guns like Galahorn and now Black Spindle really set expectation for these super OP type guns, and I think that's what people really started thinking.
Black Spindle's not OP.
It's not OP, but if you don't have it in the raid, it really hurts.
It's really
you just touch a malice. What do you need it for in the raid?
That old gem, that's super easy to pick up too. Meaning, you have to spend. You can get. Well, seriously, Destin, you've spent a lot of time questing, and now you have everything. But what I mean by that is,
I'm asking you, what advantage does Black Spindle give you on what part of the raid? Because you can't do crits on Oryx, so
not on Oryx, but on every other boss up till then. It's constant non-reload, super high crit. Yeah. I mean, it really I know teams that are going in, they just don't have it, and they're $299, $300, and they are struggling.
But I think
I've never had trouble without the Black Spindle.
Well, you're especially awesome, but not everybody's as cool as you. But my point is, Black Spindle is really powerful. Yeah. All I was saying is it really sets expectations that it's going to be this magic bullet type thing.
Yeah.
And if I go back to year one, there's weapons that I really enjoyed, and it was more in the right situation, I thought they were awesome.
Yeah.
People actually gave me so much crap for liking Atheon's epilogue, but the reality is I really loved it in Vault of Glass. On Oracles, up close, it was awesome.
Yeah.
So I do think my point is situationally, I bet you there's some really awesome situations with that gun.
And I think so too. And I think it's still too early to drop a verdict on Sleeper Simulant.
I keep wanting to call it stimulant, but that sounds naughty.
Put it in the crucible.
I apologize. Some people lose their mind with mispronunciations, but I do want to say that I think the biggest improvement over year one that you just broached very gently, Fran, is that when you were chasing Galahorn, it was always down to the randomness of RNG to give you that weapon. And year two so far has been defined by very achievable exotic weapons that you just have to be at the right place at the right time to do. And so I think they're getting that part of the game really right now.
Yeah.
And it's getting me excited. This was another, I woke up at 5, and first thing I do now is check r/Destiny the game, and the first thing is Sleeper Simulant.
Yep.
This is where you find it, and sheets off, let's do this. Where's the controller?
It's the best alarm clock ever.
Yeah, it is. Galahorn was the first. This is my second, and I'm eager to see what's going to be next.
So the thing that's bothering me about year two exotics is, though, I haven't seen any that are really special.
Touch Malice.
Touch of Malice?
Okay, yeah, but that one, you just do the quest and you get it.
Yep.
There's still not a story oh man, I remember when I farmed those things to get my sword. Okay, that's what I remember about the sword.
So this is what we should talk about.
Yeah.
Though, okay. So do we like how these Black Spindle, Touch of
Black
Malice?
Spindle I really like.
And you like how
I like how you obtain that weapon.
Okay, so explain then. Well, first of all, let me just say I like the questing system. At first, I was kind of mad. It looked like I missed sort of the moment in time that they flipped the switch, seemingly right, to go out and get Sleeper Simulant. Now there's talk of how I can just go with you and get in there because you have it on your map, and hopefully that works for me this weekend. But anyway, otherwise I gotta wait. But the point is,
Guess my boss is telling me I'm working this weekend.
I've come to grips with this. Is that I like that I know like it's not another Fatebringer moment for me. So I actually really like that. But maybe based on that, like, do you like the questing system? And also, you clearly do because you like how Black Spindle happened. So why don't you like how Sleeper Simulant happened? Is it just the payoff, or is it? So
Sleeper Simulant had this cool thing.
Quests.
Yeah, Sleeper Simulant had this thing where it was kind of building lore, and you had to input these codes, and Rasputin's involved. But then it just turns into like you give it to the gunsmith, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go talk to all the foundries and like get their input."
Yeah.
And
So
then it's just like, "Oh, go do that strike you've done a million times."
So here's my bet.
And it's just kind of a letdown. It's like, "Oh, I just go do the strike. That's it."
I haven't done it, but my guess is if there was an awesome fight at the end and that glorious like pinnacle when you beat everything and it dissolves and it drops, like that's probably what you wanted, right?
Yeah, like a little bit more of a.
Yeah, it's
like
the
when you
fireworks at
when
the
you go
end.
9-0 in trials and you go to the
get the chest.
the Mercury, that's awesome. You
Exactly.
know?
So without doing
with this, it's just like go do that quest you've done 900 times. All right, well,
Yeah, so I think
it's kind of a letdown.
this is where it'd be great, a great topic probably for another show. Some quests are clearly better than others. I think we expected Sleeper Simulant to be awesome, but I think some people out there are going to like this sort of puzzly element, whereas other people, I think, like Black Spindle is very like just
Black Spindle's like,
challenging.
all right, you got the daily, run over there and see what's going on.
Yeah.
Oh man, there's this 5-minute timer and I got to kill this really hard boss, and how do I do it?
These quote unquote Star Fox endings for missions like Black Spindle are really, really cool. I will admit, but I'm a bit torn. Like I love that aspect of it, and I really did enjoy that Lost to Light became all of a sudden this pseudo raid encounter.
Are you torn between dimensions, Jose?
Yeah, I was torn a little bit, but what I'm torn on is that Bungie is basically time gating this stuff, and I think that's smart because it's going to basically affect the
gives you a reason to sign
game.
on.
It's going to give you a reason to check r/Destiny the game in the morning like I do. But if you're unavailable that day, that's a big bummer. Like that's a punch to the gut.
That's what I was saying.
And I feel that like no one wants their experience with a video game, even one that they feel as positively about as Destiny, to be defined by what is life getting in the way. Like I don't have time to do this.
You know what though?
Like no one wants to feel like they're basically strung along by a game structure that way. I don't find that satisfying.
I get where you're coming from, but at the same time, I feel like maybe that's just because like, did you miss it the first time?
No, I got it. My Xbox character
Which, Black
didn't
Spindle
get it.
or
Black Spindle,
Black Spindle.
I got a day out. I woke up at 5 a.m. like
I
another
got it that
morning.
night
We're
too.
like,
Yeah.
whoa,
I got it at
let's do
1:58 a.m. that night.
I'm playing with friends in Japan.
Right
Like,
for
let's
you.
Yeah, I
do
mean,
this.
I think it gives you a reason to sign back on and look forward to something, you know, I think.
No, and it does, and I really like it.
There should be another avenue is what you're saying.
I'm just saying that when you miss it, it's a bummer because you don't know when it's coming back.
So that's
and
true.
I think that's a problem.
But I want to jump in because I am that person. I've just had literally the craziest time in my career and probably my life in the last few weeks that I've had no time. And it's been really like frustrating to me. And when I almost missed Black Spindle, I just stayed up and I felt that pressure. It was still pretty amazing when I got Black Spindle on time. But now that I miss Sleeper Simulant and that I've played more of it, I've really thought ahead and I'm like, there's just a lot of time. Yeah. Like, there's a lot to do. Do we really want to be in a situation where like you're done in 2 weeks? And I think your point is totally valid, but what I would say is Black Spindle came back a week and a half later, and Sleeper Simulant, they'll turn the switch on, and like I think that's fine. I like the questing system. I like that I don't have that Fatebringer thing, which took me 7 months to get or whatever it was.
And I want to be clear, I like it too. I'm only torn in that regard because I feel like if I have other obligations, I'm not gonna be able to do this. And I guess I don't want to make it sound like I'm obsessed with keeping up with my friends or with the community in terms of the weapon game, because I don't think that's a way you should measure the
Destiny
amount of
is
fun
measured by that way, though.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Shouldn't be the
Fear
only
of
metric.
missing out.
Yeah, but that shouldn't be the only metric of enjoyment, because if it is, I feel like you're doing it wrong. Like there's also just the shared experience of it all, like the stories of that time we fought Oryx, or those stories of that time we got our exotic sword, where those events aren't time gated.
Right.
My story of getting the exotic sword, though, isn't a good one. and it's go collect materials
And
for hours. Like it's just like, man, we really don't want people running in a circle collecting materials. Oh, what should we do for this exotic sword quest? Let's have them run in a circle and collect materials. It's like, come on, you say you don't like things, and then you implement that as a part of your exotic quest line?
My suggestion, first of all, I like the time-gated approach. I think that's a smart way to do it. I think, though,
I don't want people shooting in a cave.
Time should be, I don't want that either. Like, thank God the exotics are no longer tied to RNG. But I will say that I think that they should evaluate and maybe even look at how much time they're giving you to do some of this stuff. Because I don't know if a day is adequate. Secondly,
I do think that's an interesting point.
Yeah, with Sleeper Simulant specifically, though, I would say that for someone who wasn't available for well, here's the thing: to do the final saber, you just have to have completed first firewall, right? It's not like you
Once you do first firewall, you're fine.
It's popped and that's it. Okay. So I was gonna say maybe tie some of this to the Nightfall. Give people a week, because that ties into the next segment.
Yeah, that's actually a really good segment. So let's use that as a transitioning point, because we're way over on that for a second.
I knew as soon as you said Nightfall, Destin's like producer hat. So he's like, so speaking of the Nightfall, we want to talk about the nerf system and what they did since the Taken King update.
I just think
that is kind of what we're going to talk about, actually. So
I think tying it to a week-long thing like that could help. Because right now the Nightfall's hurting. Why is the Nightfall hurting?
The Nightfall's hurting because, like, with year 2, they just kind of took away a lot of the rewards and how the Nightfall works. And, like, you can respawn, but, like, I have not gotten anything good. I got 12 strange coins, and I got some 3 coins, blues, which aren't even guaranteed drops. Blues. You got blues?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got
wow, that's a joke.
Blues drop in the Nightfall.
Yeah, it's a little.
Yes, that is the slap in the face heard around the galaxy. Like, that's not okay. It's not.
Nightfalls used to be at least a legendary or, like, an exotic, typically. Like, what?
Crazy to me that it's not just a legendary from, like, Vanguard, at least, or something. You know, and Dead Orbit and all that. Like, why not?
280. I don't care. Like, the perk roll on it might be good. Give me that.
280s with, like, amazing perk rolls would be great.
290 even.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
But, like, something for doing this incredibly difficult mission, like, it should not be awful drops. It needs to change.
Yeah, I've been in disbelief, actually. Like, as we've played these last few weeks, I've been busy, so I've been chasing, to get it done every week. I think I missed, like, a middle week.
I just don't do it. It's not worth it.
I talked to them, and they had the same reaction. I'm like, are you sure?
No XP buff either.
Yeah, well, right.
But no flames on your head. Like, give me an aesthetic thing at least, or something.
They still want to do that, remember. They have said they want the Nightfall or that type of accomplishment to still show up, but that the XP buff wasn't the right way to do it.
The XP buff, honestly, I'm okay that it's gone, because I think, of course, their angle is they probably, looking at the data, saw that the only time people were taking the time to do the Nightfall was Tuesday and Wednesday, and if you passed Wednesday, no one cared because you didn't get enough of an XP boost to justify it. But the difficulty involved in the Nightfall right now is disproportionate to the reward, and someone needs to really sit down and say, okay, 3 of coin is not a good enough reward, because you know what? Xur sells those on freaking Thursday
and they
Friday.
Suck. They don't work. I dropped 10 of them the other day, and on the 10th drop, I got an exotic.
Did you
finally? And it was a helmet I had.
Just one at a time?
One at a time.
Yeah, because stacking doesn't seem like that awesome.
Well,
But I mean, I don't want to turn this into bash the 3 of coin too much, because
I like it.
The 3 of coins does not work how they said it would work. That's why I don't like it.
It does. It's literally 20% of the time.
I burned 10 of them, and I still get nothing. It's because they changed the system because people were farming it.
Probably. But
it screwed everything up.
If you drop 10, you should have gotten at least 1 exotic, if not 2.
I did, and it was a 280 that I already had.
Okay, wait. So you got 1
that I already had.
You didn't get 2.
I got 1.
So you're pretty close to the percentage.
That's like ridiculous.
It's a 20% drop rate, like, at a high end. So now you're probably seeing, like, anyway, the point is it's
3 coins are awful.
It is working like intended. You just didn't like your drop. Like,
no, I don't like my drop. I don't like how often stuff drops. That's my reward for the Nightfall, and I don't like.
So let's go back to that.
Let's say
this isn't about 3
my
coins.
Nightfall reward was 5 3 coins. I use all 5 of them, and I get nothing. So I got nothing for the Nightfall.
Well, let's focus on the task at hand. I haven't gotten 3 coins from Nightfall.
Yeah.
What is the reason to do the Nightfall?
Nothing.
To get an exotic. Like, here's what it should be. It should be to get an exotic.
Even the rep reward is painfully low, by the way. We haven't talked about the reputation.
The whole thing
is bad.
Legendary marks, like, it gives you 10, 15?
I don't
know. It doesn't give you marks, right?
Oh, great. That's even better.
Yeah, I don't think it gives you marks.
I'm sure they're aware of this, but they have to figure out some way to make the Nightfall something I want to do again, because even and especially when
50
it's
marks.
Like again, the Saber Strike, which has one of the hardest openings in the game. It's like, well, do I want to do
Destin
this?
just said it. I was like, actually, I had the same thought. I was like, 60 marks.
Yeah.
Just make it 60 marks. Like, what's the big deal? Like,
make it really hard, but give you a big reward.
Yeah, and maybe that's too much, but give me a bigger reward.
50 marks.
So here's some of the stuff I wrote down.
45 marks, 45 marks, 47.
Just thinking about it off the top of my head, like exotics, guaranteed exotic drop would be great to have on the loot table. 310 legendaries.
You'd need a lot. Okay,
that would be great to have on the loot table.
Guaranteed exotic, I think, would be a problem because.
Well, I'm saying
ruins the quest
one of these things.
Oh, okay.
You know, 50 marks as a possible drop. You know,
what do you guys want
that
to
should
see?
be guaranteed. The 50 marks should be guaranteed.
Yeah, I actually
let us know in the comments.
Like, or 50 strange coins. So I don't know, even strange coins of any kind on the table.
It's like a mother. So yeah, I like strange coins, but 12 is not enough anymore because those 3 coins, like the irony.
Yeah, and they took away the 9
3 coins that don't work
from the weekly. I mean, that's also kind of disrupted the economy in an interesting way. Like, I didn't mind it at first because, you know, completing daily bounties, like I was getting strange coins, or I was getting strange coins from certain engram drops, and I was like, all right, this isn't bad. But I am noticing that when Xur comes around, I'm just kind of carefully clutching my strange coin change purse, like,
I
know. Well, what do you have today? And nervously like looking because I'm like, if I misspend this, I'm not going to really get something cool out of this.
By the way, legacy engrams are 31 strange coins for an exotic you'll never use, except in vanilla
we don't
Crucible.
Know where the game is headed still.
But if it pops a year 2, there is some utility to
Plus,
that.
It doesn't pop a year 2. It's a year 1.
Year 1 that you can then get a year 2 version of. I think there's still a saving grace there.
Gjallarhorn's great.
31 strange coins, and then I have to buy it for 150 marks also. You know,
it's expensive, but Gjallarhorn is great
in
Crucible, and so are other weapons. Like, I mean,
not anymore.
Man, we are arguing about
Crucible
today.
That's fine. What are you talking about?
No.
Yeah.
You're not going to be taking Gjallarhorn into Trials or Iron Banner.
Trials, no, not those, but regular Crucible, you do just dandy.
I guess.
Get all over that rift. Oh, so close.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like, we just don't use it because we're excited about the new guns, where it's overused. But for people who haven't gotten Gjallarhorn, it's kind of nice, right? Like, it's nice.
I need to play more with Fran.
I know, right?
I don't know. We're Fireteam chat, but we haven't been on the same Fireteam in weeks.
It's been a while. So how would you fix Nightfall? Like, what would you add to it?
I mean, I think they just need to sit down and reevaluate what the reward is going to be. If it's a
right now, it's literally nothing.
Chance at an exotic. Like, I want to know that I have a shot at a pull. Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't always drop. Just like I don't think 3 of coins should always give you an exotic. But the legendary marks idea I like a lot, because right now that is driving a lot of what I'm doing, right? Because infuse or lose is the game of the game. You know?
Give me 300s.
I need it for that, but I'm actually buying materials all the time. That's my way out of the materials game. And that's why it would be perfect. Like, I need 50 legendary marks to buy freaking helium filaments.
But I would also turn one of the Nightfalls into an avenue for one specific exotic. Like this week, you have a chance at a Black Spindle-esque type thing. Only on the Nightfall, and you have a week to figure this out.
And it's really tough.
Like you would the raid. And it's really tough, but you can do it. I think that would be cool. That would be a cool experiment.
That'd be cool.
This year 2 questing, experiment extravaganza that seems to be going on.
That'd be cool, like a destination exotic drop RNG kind of moment. But this week it's potentially dropping, but maybe it's like a 7% chance at something out there. But see, that's the problem with exotics, is they're also quest-based now. Like, if it drops Touch of Malice, it ruins the entire line.
The other thing with exotics is, I mean, the reason they're exclusive is because there are not that many of them.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's the reason you chase. And the minute there become too many, that disrupts the metagame, that disrupts the economy as well.
So, I'd rather have it drop, like, legendaries and some really cool stuff like that. There's a total, like, think of it dropping Vanguard stuff at a higher number. That's actually great. It's like your version of the raid for, like, Vanguard, Crucible-type weapons. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
You know? The reputation game.
It needs to be fixed. Yeah. We also need to move on, unfortunately.
We need to be fixed. I thought you were going to say
No. Yeah. So the final topic, we're going to go over on time a little bit, but the final topic is pretty important. There is a Eververse Trading Company was announced, and at this place, you're going to be able to spend real money to get emotes. That's all they're doing right now. It's going to be available Tuesday, October 13th, and Tess Everest will return to the tower. They pretty much took her out of the tower. They just removed her character to build her for the Eververse Trading Company, and it's a place where right now you can buy emotes. There was a Kotaku article that also...
No shader confirmation yet?
No shader.
I mean, eventually.
Just it's only emotes. right now. Kotaku said that according to a source that they have, that this is how they're going to fund year 2 missions, but Bungie has never said that, so we have an unknown source that Kotaku
who says it's how they're going to fund year 2 missions?
Yeah, year 2
like
free missions.
Doesn't have enough money
missions.
to build the game, and they need to like go.
And everybody keeps sourcing this thing and sending it to me. It's like, oh, it's how they're going to do missions. I want to support Bungie. I'm like, that's a Kotaku source. That's not Bungie saying that.
BS alert. BS alert.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't believe that. Like, they have a very specific plan. Sure, they could build more.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's not a possibility.
Yeah.
But they're not short on change.
No, they're
I've
not.
always said, though, like, I don't know how much it costs to have these hundreds of QA testers, the hundreds of team members. It's an expensive game, tons of servers. Nonetheless, I have a hard time believing that you need to do a Kickstarter version of like Eververse to like fund some missions. Like, they have roadmaps and milestones to build all this out.
Definitely.
So I don't think that sounds right to me. What I will say is, my point is,
you didn't say was money.
Yeah,
but,
I don't think they need that money. But yes, like, let's talk about Destiny 2. I do believe something like this. Like, yeah, that's going to go into the production of that.
Yeah, I think this Eververse trading company is like them getting ready for Destiny 2. They're gonna so here's their quote here. Initially, Tess will offer 18 brand new emotes, like the trio of emotes offered via the Taken King Collector's Edition. These emotes are completely optional and won't impact the action game in any way. To acquire these items, you'll first need to pick up some silver, a new in-game currency that will be available for purchase through the store associated with your console. Yep.
Real money.
Oh, it's going to affect my dancing action. I know that. So I
can't get down with him.
So wait. All right, what do you guys think? I'm all about it. I understand the slippery slope and the naysayers that are going to jump to that. I'm sure you did, Destiny.
I exploded.
Because
I hate
this is going to ruin the game. Like,
it's not the emotes. Okay, so it's not the emotes that I have a problem with. It's the fact that they're implementing this, and either Bungie or Activision are going to lose control of this product. The people with the money hats are going to put their money hats on and be like, oh,
no money
what else? What else can we sell? You know, shaders. Yeah, let's get shaders in there. Yeah. Ooh, special ammo synth. That's not going to break the game. Let's start selling that for real money.
That's you're right. That is getting.
That's where it's slippery slope.
So why do we immediately go to like, well, when they get to the things that will ruin the game, like why go there?
Oh, because I don't trust Activision.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they do have a history of like lots of
shutting down companies because they have a
DLC
disagreement.
No. Okay.
No, well, let's dial it back a little bit. I think I think honestly,
you have a lot of issues that are. It's not.
They've done some really bad stuff.
Okay,
you want to know why I have issues?
Right. So obviously, hardcore gamers like us at this table, do not like the idea of microtransactions because we fear how they will disrupt an economy and how they change the game that we play and that we really like.
And let me say something on that. I don't care about emotes. I know emotes aren't going to break the game. It's the thought that
where it could go.
I don't want to sit here and sort of speculate on how much it costs to run Destiny or where this pressure is coming from to put these microtransactions in the game. The reality is they're here. And they are emotes, which to me does not signal cause for alarm yet. But I will say that I agree. First of all, I'm for this. I'm like, look, if someone wants to spend money on an additional emote or even on shaders or on the nameplates, go right ahead. Like that is your option as a consumer. You bought this product, you want to buy it, and you think the money's going towards wherever it's going because no one said what it's going towards.
Yeah,
that's fine. That's not carefully labeled. What I will say, though, is that it just does not ever need to broach or affect the game as a whole. For example, I was doing some research on this because I was like, okay, you were really steamed on when did this happen? Monday, I think the announcement happened? Monday or Tuesday?
I just said, all I said, I got a lot of flack for this on Twitter, was that like,
to give you flack,
I don't trust Bungie or Activision to keep it balanced. It worries me.
I started looking online and going, okay, well, Call of Duty is a major franchise. Let's look at how the microtransaction game has evolved. And I think it was in 2011 or around that time, after 2011, microtransactions were introduced in the form of cosmetic items only. So with Black Ops 2, you had the opportunity to buy your reticle, your nameplate. They had the ability to buy additional loadouts, which at the core fundamental do not disrupt the game, do not disrupt the gear game and the weapon game.
Yeah.
However, Fast forward to Advanced Warfare.
Also, that's not what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about.
Finish.
Yeah.
Let me run forward. Fast forward to today, and you can buy kill streak. Basically, like there's a card system in Advanced Warfare where that effectively are chances at certain drops and certain weapons. Some of them being exclusive just because you bought these cards through microtransactions. To me, that affects the core game. That's a problem. And that's something I don't want to see happen to Destiny. And that's, I guess, the larger point I'm trying to make is that this microtransaction business has us all trained to be very upset. And I think, history has proven we should be slightly concerned. But I do think that if it's starting this way and stays this way, I'm fine with this. It's just the minute it encroaches, okay, you can spend real money to get exotic engrams.
Well, we all know
there's a problem. Even if I can't control what pops, that's where I start getting upset.
I'm not worried about it ruining the game or them selling exotics or however they end up wanting to do it. That's not what I'm worried about. The fact that it exists is what bothers me. I come from an old school gamer perspective where I would buy a game and I would get everything that came with the game. I would play in an MMO and I would get to play that MMO and earn what I unlocked, not buy it. And the fact that a real-world economy impacts the product that I'm playing, that's what bothers me. And it's not the only company that's doing it. Ubisoft is ripping story missions out of their games and then charging you money for them. For all I know, Bungie had these done and in the game, and they took them out because it was another revenue stream for them.
So I mean, whatever.
Batman ripped out a ton of story stuff and charged you up front to get them, like the Batgirl stuff and everything. And I hate that this is so commonplace and everybody's just so accepting of it. It's like, oh, this is so cool. But no, it's not. You're ripping stuff out of your game to charge me more money for it.
But your other examples, those are much bigger. Like if they made some dancing options, which are super simple probably to make, that's not a big deal. Missions and stuff, you're right, but we're not there yet.
But look, I will say, maybe this is naive, but I will say that I have a lot of faith in Bungie as a developer and as someone who knows that the name on the box, being the developer, means something. The community means something to them. And where if Call of Duty and the developers who have been pulled into that Activision-owned IP acquiesced and said, absolutely, we'll do this microtransaction thing, I want to believe at the fundamental, Bungie would stand up and say, this is going to be a problem. Because at the end of the day, it's their reputation in their game, regardless of who the publisher is. And so I just want to say that I have faith in them to do this right. I could be completely wrong in 6 months, and I'm pretty sure there are plenty of people on Twitter or on the internet ready to tell me that. But knowing the developer the way I've seen them, even when Halo had a version of microtransactions, being that you can buy, for example, additional storage space for save films or other small things like that, it never really felt like you were being nickel and dime because it was optional services. And Bungie just doesn't have that history behind them. So I want to believe that a developer that seems to care that much about the community and is willing to listen to them would stand up and say,
you're right.
We're not doing this.
Bungie does care, and I trust them. Remember Infinity Ward when half their staff got laid off because they had a disagreement with with Activision? That's what scares me.
Yeah, but Activision.
They literally formed Respawn and they work for EA now.
Yeah, but
is that going to happen again? Like how much pressure will be put on Bungie to do something that they don't like by Activision? I mean, maybe Activision is aware of that era and how big of a snafu that was, and it won't happen again. But it worries me.
I think it's valid cause for concern, but I'm putting my faith in the developers.
Yeah, I mean, there's no current. I understand the conversation, but I actually personally understand.
There's already a ton of turmoil at Bungie with all the veteran employees leaving.
I get that, but this is what bothers me about actually the internet and some of the community out there. We now have spent 8 minutes talking about the what if, what could be. There's nothing more than dance emotes being offered. And we want to spend all this time to say, well, what could be, and oh my God, the storm is coming. Well, and I get it, it's drama and we all love it, but it actually bothers me a little bit because give someone a chance first. You're right. It's out there and we can talk about it in a sane way. You got great examples.
Yeah.
But basically, Destin, if you just listen to what you said, at one moment you said, I don't trust Bungie. And what you meant by that was to be able to handle the pressure and handle where this is going. But then you said you do trust them at the heart. And so anyway, the point is we're
the people who have a problem with it will literally leave the company.
Could if we get there. And you're right, it's a risk. This is a 10-year game. It's going to evolve past dancing.
Let's not hinge this all on bad precedents, right? Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think
let's wait until the dancing is a problem.
I don't have a problem with the dance emotes.
You're going to ruin it for me.
I don't have a problem with the dance emotes. I have a problem with the fact that they ripped it out of their game to charge me more money for it. How are people happy about this?
That's fine. simmer down. How about this? Great point.
Oh, I'm so happy you remove content to charge me more money for it. That bothers me, and it doesn't bother people, and I don't get it.
Let's end this, because we're over time, by saying, is there a way that Eververse could be cool, actually? And is there a way to turn this into a positive? I thought one cool thing was, what if they put up like some potential things that was almost like a Kickstarter function? This probably won't happen. I've never seen it. But like, wouldn't it be cool if you could buy into a certain like design and have them make it based on the crowdsourcing fund? You know, maybe there's some cool stuff like out there to build stuff in the game.
Like have the community make it. They kind of do that with Counter-Strike.
Yeah, but within that, like a dancing move or whatever. But meaning you sort of pre-order something that you vote on to get made. That could be kind of fun, actually. You know,
you're going to get the humping emote in there pretty quick.
Oh, man.
Exactly.
Counter-Strike does that. Counter-Strike is a really good example of a really good community-driven content. And the community gets like 90% and like Valve gets 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but yeah, and it was just more about in a clever way. Like you'd still be buying something, but it would be like a pre-order, and meaning maybe if it didn't get all the votes, you get your dollars back, right, to your silver back or whatever. There could be some fun stuff maybe, but you're right. It's got to be harmless. It can't affect the game, can't affect the action of the game, but it can affect the dancing action.
I'm not worried about all those things you said. Yeah. I hope I made it clear why I don't like microtransactions. It's because a thing's made for a game, it's taken out because somebody sees another revenue stream, and I hate that.
But like, let me give you an example. I want them to build like a dancing emote. Like I've always talked about exotic shaders and exotic emotes and stuff. Like, wouldn't it be cool if, like, for at the end of the raid, you all had like something that like lit you up on fire, like
that'd be
like
great.
Cool stuff like that that's not being built. So
that'd be great. Why can't I earn that in the game, or why can't I just buy year 2 and have that?
Maybe this is the silver lining.
Maybe that's the silver lining to the whole situation.
Silver
give people
lining. You see?
Don't do that.
I do it all the time.
Maybe there's a way. Like I like what I think I heard Street Fighter V is doing something interesting with microtransactions, where actually everything that you can acquire via microtransactions, you're able to unlock via the game.
That's
happened
cool.
in a number of games too, where it's like either or.
Yeah.
Spend the time, spend
and it's
the money.
like cosmetic.
Yeah.
Forza was like that.
It'll be interesting though to see how this impacts the whole thing. I mean, I think it's I do want to end on one point where I do think it's dangerous for us to sit around. We don't know, what it costs to run a game like Bungie, and we don't know what it costs to make a game
Destiny.
like Destiny. We don't know those specifics, and so without that knowledge, I don't know if this microtransaction is because they do need more money to make certain things happen, or because it is, hey, this is cool right now and we can make more on it. Like,
and that's my point
too. The narrative is
like,
unclear.
Don't assume that they can build this additional raid or fix hard mode or make a hard mode for a very hard mode for Vault of Glass. Meaning this could end up funding good stuff.
Yeah, but I do know when Eververse Trading Company opens, I'm going to take a look at the wares, and if I see a dance that I think is worth the amount of money that I feel justified in spending that amount, I'm going to buy it, and I'm not going to feel bad about that because that's something that at the end of the day,
you and a lot of people, and that's why it's never going to go away.
Well, we'll all
Companies
dance
are
in
gonna keep
shame
doing
with
this.
our exclusive dances, and they'll be like, look at them dancing with their silver
Oh man, there's gonna be so
emotes.
much judgment at the tower
There
now
will
when
be.
you dance and you're not. So much
I'm
silent
gonna get a whole
judgment.
group of people together that have bought dances. Dance around Destin.
It'll be like Game of Thrones with the lady with the bell. Shame. Shame. Just point. The point means shame because it goes in the same slot. This is it. This is how you do it.
That is hilarious that you bring that up because my raid team, which Charles on yet is on to remember Charles. Yeah. This is the end and we should wrap up. I have there will be certain things at the raid where I started doing that. Like it'd be a silent moment after something went bad and I'd be like, shame. Shame. And then I start sending them the GIF in the thread that we talk on. So anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, Fran, are there any promotions for stuff? There's a ton going on at IGN right now. So Fran wanted to talk about a few of the items.
But reminder about the the pages. We have the new show page. IGN.com/watch/Fireteam-chat. So watch Fireteam chat. Easy way to remember it. You can find it in also the navigation bar on top of IGN. But I really wanted to actually bring up. We always talk about iTunes reviews or reviews on your podcast stuff. I pulled up a couple from late September. Thank you guys so much for reviewing. If you don't like the show as well, leave the review. We're not for everybody. We do read that stuff. I don't want you to think I just picked the stuff that was like good. We have like a 4.5-star rating. So you guys are freaking awesome.
Be constructive with your reviews. We actually read them. So thank you.
But anyway, thank you guys. But two quick ones to read. The first one was by Acting Shady, and he says, for starters, I'm one who never leaves reviews. This is my first and only review, but this podcast is awesome. I strongly encourage anyone who plays Destiny that you should listen to these guys on your free time is what he's saying. Wish the show was an hour, but maybe in the future.
I think you got it today.
Yeah. Also, thanks to Fireteam
Yeah.
Chat. Now I listen to Podcast Unlocked.
Oh, cool.
That's great. Keep up the great work.
Getting more destined.
Keep up the great work. And he says, Guardians out. And then also by I Heart Love. Awesome podcast. Absolutely love listening to it and the information that they give. Destiny is an amazing game, and it's so wonderful to listen to a podcast with people that enjoy the game as much as I do.
Cool.
Guardians out.
Nice.
So you guys are doing an awesome job with that tagline.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
There's
so
nothing
thank
in a
you,
better-
guys.
I think you came up with it.
I know I did. I mentioned it on one show.
The Temptations. Whole,
Yeah.
like,
We're
If you'd like to buy a new outro for the show,
Oh my God.
we're gonna have a. Okay, let's wrap things up.
that's amazing.
I quit. No, I'm
I
just
would pay
kidding.
for that.
So we're also doing a top 100 games of all time. I did like 2 of the 100 write-ups, so we're going to promote that. That's coming out Monday. So if you want to check that out, check out IGN.com.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a big moment. We don't
Yeah.
do that very often. Is update that top 100. It's a
Yeah.
lot of ranking.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Anyway, until next time, Guardians out.
Right, Jose? Right? Shame.
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 Shame. Shame.
Shame.